What happens when you try to cover up a cover-up but realize that your cover-up of the cover-up was worse than the cover-up you were trying to cover up? Joe Biden and his Democrat allies are finding that out right now, attempting to cover up the cover-up of Biden's cognitive decline with a surprise cancer diagnosis that was almost certainly also covered up for years. Welcome to another busy broadcast week here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. As you can imagine, we are covering the president's health and the cover-up thereof from every possible angle. I will prove in just a couple of minutes, going back through the archives, piece by piece, layer by layer, year by year, that the Biden White House was actively covering up a prostate cancer diagnosis almost certainly received well before last Friday, that Biden's statement yesterday indicated almost certainly before Biden even began running for president. They were covering up his cognitive decline. They were covering up a prostate cancer diagnosis that now appears to be potentially terminal. We have got a jam-packed Dan O'Donnell show for you today. President Trump just a couple of minutes ago signing landmark legislation known as the Take It Down Act. Revenge porn, AI porn, all of that, plus a major statement regarding negotiations between Ukraine and Russia aimed at a ceasefire and possibly an end to that war. It's been a busy day at the Trump White House. Big victory from the United States Supreme Court on deportations. And we are here in Wisconsin coming off the state Republican convention. Were there any wounds healed in the great schism between Turning Point USA activists and old guard Republican Party of Wisconsin supporters? Not really. Plus, some mild surprise in the annual straw poll of who Republican Party convention attendees want to be their next gubernatorial nominee. All of that coming up today. If you would like to join us, our phone lines are always open. 414-799-1130. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. We are on X at Dan O'Donnell Show there, streaming live also on Facebook at Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. And of course, you can find us on YouTube as well. Join the conversation. It's always a lively one with other members of Dan Nation, our loyal listener army. Please do subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast. Help us rocket up those charts. Final week of the Spring Green Cash Contest. It ends on Friday. That means on this show, 3 more chances today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before you have to wait maybe a month or two before we start this sizzling summer cash contest. But wouldn't you like $1,000 in your pocket? I know I would. Nationwide keyword this hour to win you just that amount. Bank, B-A-N-K, bank. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword bank. If your entry is picked at random, you know the drill by now. You win $1,000. Statement released yesterday. Former President Joe Biden's office revealed last week Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. It is, ladies and gentlemen, a flat-out lie that the cancer was just detected and diagnosed on Friday. Prostate cancer is about the easiest cancer in the world to detect, and it could only spread that far without being noticed in someone who never went to a doctor. Not a president of the United States who has some of the best medical care, if not the best medical care in the entire country. Dr. Zeke Emanuel, who is a very prominent oncologist, he also happens to be the brother of Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago and one of President Obama's closest advisors. He said, based on how far the cancer is spread, Biden almost certainly had cancer during his presidency, and more likely than not, at the beginning of his presidency. He was on Morning Joe on MSNBC this morning.
You believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
So I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
Could there have been any indication at the very beginning of Biden's presidency that he might have had some sort of cancer diagnosis? Yes, indeed. November 2021, President Biden underwent a colonoscopy and a large benign polyp was removed. This, according to the White House doctor in a memo confirming expectations following the procedure. Dr. Kevin O'Connor wrote that the polyp was a tubular adenoma. Those are slow-growing but thought to be potentially precancerous. A similar polyp was removed in 2008. And according to reporting at the time, quote, no further medical action is required for now, although the president will need to repeat a colonoscopy in the future. Just a few months after that, in what was chalked up to one of Biden's frequent gaffes, he actually said during a speech that he got cancer because of oil slicks that rained on his mother's car while she was driving him to school back home in Delaware.
My mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on their windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
I and so many other people have cancer. Now, at the time, there were a few of us who said, hey, wait a minute, did Biden just accidentally admit that he has cancer? Or was this just the senility talking? But it seems, with the benefit of hindsight, that this might have been an unintentional slip of the tongue, that Biden did, in fact, chalk up his prostate cancer with which he was actually diagnosed to that oil slick back in Delaware. Now, let's say, for the sake of arguments, he really did have cancer throughout his presidency. Wouldn't there be some sort of record of it? Well, there would be. Unless, of course, those records were scrubbed. Now, the way you usually test for prostate cancer is by testing for what's known as prostate-specific antigen. That's a protein produced by the prostate gland, and it's commonly referred to as PSA. It's a blood draw. You get your PSA tested. Since I have prostate cancer in my family, my grandfather had it for many years. He died with it. It's so slow moving that doctors say eventually, if a man lives long enough, he's probably going to get prostate cancer. But I get a PSA test every single year. I'm happy to report that my PSA levels are normal and actually kind of low. Higher levels of PSA can indicate the development of prostate cancer, and there is absolutely no record of Biden having taken a PSA test. Also on Morning Joe this morning, Dr. Vin Gupta noted that while Presidents Trump, Obama, and W. Bush all have really easily accessible records confirming that they all had prostate exams, Biden has no record of one, and his recent medical reports are almost impossible to access. All that are available are vague summaries.
It is interesting to note that President Trump's, President Obama's, and President Bush II, in their most recent physicals, in their terms of office, obviously 2025 for President Trump, did comment on their PSA levels. And so they got screened while in office, and they commented on it. It's not easy to access the most recent ones from President Biden. You can read the summary articles. I couldn't access it on the archive site on the White House just before I came on. But according to those that were able to, there is not a report of a PSA test on the most recent physical that was read out for President Biden's last year in office. And so it's to say what was done, what was not done. You and I would be speculating, but the other three most recent occupants of the White House had it drawn, and it was reported out.
But Biden didn't. Isn't that weird that he just happens to be the only former president who doesn't have easily accessible medical records dealing with the very type of cancer that he supposedly was just diagnosed with? So, okay, he's diagnosed with prostate cancer. How was he treated for it without anyone knowing? Because of the amount of time he spent away from the White House, which actually keeps visitor logs. President Biden took more time away from the White House than any president in modern history. He spent 1,463 days in office total. Of those, 577 days, 39% of his presidency were spent on vacation. 109 of those days were spent either at Camp David or one of his personal residences in Delaware, the main house in Wilmington, or the vacation home, the beach house in Rehoboth Beach. Neither of those homes have publicly available visitor logs. We learned this in early 2023 when Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer was asking for them. This was part of the investigation into Joe's garage. Remember all of the classified documents that were found in Biden's garage near where he kept his Corvette? Well, people obviously wanted to know who was going in, coming out of that house, and who could have potentially had access to those documents. The White House counsel said in a statement, like every president across decades of modern history, his personal residence is personal. Secret Service also said in a statement, we don't independently maintain our own visitor logs because it's a private residence. Could it be that Biden was going back home to Delaware to see his personal oncologist, either at the home in Wilmington or at the beach house? And conveniently enough, that personal oncologist didn't have to record any evidence that he was ever actually there. Now, his family would have pretty obviously known about the diagnosis and how far the cancer had spread. When Biden dropped out of the presidential race this past July 21st, CBS News actually read a statement from his brother Frank Biden, which the younger brother said, "We'll enjoy whatever time we have left with him." That's the sort of thing you say with a cancer diagnosis that is terminal.
CBS News had a brief conversation with Frank Biden, one of President Biden's two younger brothers. And here's what he told us. He said, "I'm incredibly proud of my brother. Selfishly, I will have him back to enjoy whatever time we have left. He is a genuine hero. Country over self." It sounds corny in our cynical political environment, but he nor I are cynical. The goal remains the same: defeat Trump and continue the work that Joe has done. My hope is that our party rallies around this heroic act. We asked him whether he feels that his brother's overall health and vitality played a major role in this decision. And he says, "In my humble opinion, absolutely."
So in the same statement that Frank Biden is saying, yes, we want to make sure that we have as much time as possible with Joe in the few remaining waning days of his life, he is also saying that the health was a major reason that Biden decided to step aside. But why, if this was known for so long, was this just announced now and not, say, used as the reason that Biden was forced to step aside in the first place? Tomorrow, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book comes out, in which they are expected to detail bombshell new evidence about just how steep Biden's cognitive decline was and just how fevered the effort to conceal that fact from the American people really was. The cancer diagnosis was released yesterday in a pretty blatant attempt to garner sympathy for Biden. And as David Axelrod actually said on CNN yesterday, to not just take attention away from Biden's senility and the cover-up thereof, but to actually stop talking about it because of the cancer diagnosis.
His medical condition now, his announced medical condition now, do you believe that silences or is a lot of conversations about his, last year and a half of his presidency for now?
Yeah, well, I think those conversations are going to happen, but they should be more muted and set aside for now as he's struggling through this.
You can't talk about the cover-up of Biden's declining mental condition because of this cancer diagnosis. So let's recap. A family member says Biden dropped out of the race because of his declining health and that we'll cherish whatever time we have left with him. Prostate cancer metastasizing to the bones is an indicator that cancer has been present and therefore easily detected for at least 5 to 7 years. There are no PSA test records in President Biden's medical file. There are no visitor logs at his personal homes in Delaware where doctors could easily treat him without ever being detected and reported on. And the news of his cancer diagnosis is released 2 days before a bombshell book revealing how mentally gone he is and the cover-up of this fact. This was a cover-up of a cover-up that is now blowing up in everyone's face because the cover-up of the cover-up, as they say, is worse than the underlying crime. Coming up next, much more on what I believe to be one of the biggest political scandals of all time.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before. Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Hello, commercial truck customers. Michael Lynch here with exciting news. Our expanded state-of-the-art truck center is now complete. With 27 full-service bays and over 15 acres of parking, we're delivering faster service and a better customer experience than ever before. Our sales team, over 150 years of combined truck experience. That means no training your salesperson. We understand your business and speak your language. Our service department runs 2 full shifts, so we're turning wrenches long after others close. Working late so your trucks spend less time in the shop and more time on the road. Need a custom upfit? Done. Vehicle lettering? No problem. Want it delivered to your door? You got it. Completely contactless. We proudly offer Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu trucks, ready for hauling, building, or delivering. Whatever you need, we've got the right truck right now. Come see the difference at Lynch Truck Center in Waterford or visit lynchtruckcenter.com. Give us a try. We won't disappoint you.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year. More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024. It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards. It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare. Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case. Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com. That's Warshawski.com.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. Does it seem like storms travel hundreds of miles out of their way against prevailing winds to keep your basement damp, wet, moldy, even flooded? It isn't going to resolve itself. Freezing and thawing over time expands damage to walls, foundations, and even your family's health. That's not purified water seeping or running through your basement walls. It's filth, carrying every sort of bacteria, fungus, and mold. Only Ryan Waterproofing has an estimator, project coordinator you'll love. Ashley's expert, honest, and will make you comfortable with the solutions proposed, and she'll be with you every step of the project. Doesn't matter how bad the cracks or sag in your basement walls are. Ryan has affordable sealant and water abatement solutions for most basements with convenient financing options, including 18 months, no interest financing. You actually might enjoy walking in the rain when it's not in your basement. Contact Ryan today because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com. CallRyan.com.
A little inside baseball that you may or may not know. I won't endorse a business unless I've used the product myself or I've thoroughly researched it and believe in it. Hi, everybody. It's Jay Weber. When the folks at Semperfi Roofing approached me to be their spokesman, I didn't need a new roof, so I went to work doing the research. I've got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen customer reviews quite like what I found with Semperfi. Hundreds of 5-star reviews, and not just vanilla 5-star ratings or simple clicks. Semperfi's customers are very outspoken about the great customer service and expert installation they received. Look, hiring the right contractor is a big decision. There's a lot of fly-by-nighters out there. If you want a new roof perfectly installed for real peace of mind, I've already done the research for you. I cannot recommend Semperfi Roofing highly enough. Call for your free no-obligation estimate, 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com. That's semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Former President Joe Biden's announcement that he was just diagnosed with prostate cancer is a demonstrable lie on top of dozens, if not hundreds of others of demonstrable lies, covering up his declining mental cognition since even before he was actively running for the presidency. It is my very strong contention, as I outlined point by point in my opening monologue in that last segment, that this announcement was specifically timed. It was kept from the public until just now. Tomorrow, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book is being released about how the Biden White House covered up the fact that Joe was very clearly going senile. It wasn't just this announcement to garner sympathy, but to actively distract from what are expected to be just bombshell revelations. It is also my contention that the cover-up of Biden's physical and mental health by not just the White House, but also by members of the media who are actively colluding with White House officials to not report on the obvious signs of Biden's physical and mental decline is, in fact, quite possibly the greatest scandal in American presidential and media history. There is nothing that even comes close to it. The only thing that probably does is the decline of Woodrow Wilson following a stroke back at near the turn of the last century, the 19-teens. Edith Wilson, the first lady, was apparently signing documents for the president and would not allow anyone, even cabinet secretaries, to go anywhere near him because it was pretty clear that he just wasn't recovering from the stroke. He died a short time after leaving office. Does that sound familiar? A little bit too much like Dr. Jill Biden? Well, we saw Biden, but we weren't allowed to be completely honest about what it was we were seeing. In other words, we were gaslit, not just by all the president's men, but also by the Woodwards and Bernsteins, Jake Tapper chief among them, who are constantly telling us that Biden was fine, and people like me, people like you who dared to notice his obvious decline were engaged in cheap fakery, putting out cheap fake videos designed to be or selectively edited to be as unflattering as possible and to paint a picture that just wasn't there of what Biden's mental state actually was. People who have the exact same type of cancer as Joe Biden also know that it doesn't metastasize that quickly. Sadly, one of those people is Scott Adams, who's best known as the creator of the Dilbert comic. He has also become a very prominent conservative voice on social media and alternative media. He said during his live stream on Rumble today that sadly he has the same, and I mean the same diagnosis as Joe Biden, and that unfortunately he doesn't expect to live much past summer.
Some of you have already guessed, so this won't surprise you at all. But I have the same cancer that Joe Biden has. So I also have prostate cancer that has also spread to my bones. But I've had it longer than he's had it. Well, longer than he's admitted having it. So my life expectancy is maybe the summer. I expect to be checking out from this domain sometime this summer.
That's really sad to hear. Adams is a very smart guy. Dilbert was pulled from pretty much every newspaper in America, either last year, possibly the year before. Adams made very controversial remarks saying that white people needed to get away from black people after a Rasmussen Reports poll showed that something like 26% of black people agreed with the statement, "It's not okay to be white." Adams responded to that by saying something to the effect of "get the heck away from all black people," which is pretty doggone racist. Then again, so is the statement,
I disagree with the fact that it's wrong to be white. It's okay to be white. It is not okay to be white. If I said it's okay to be white, obviously I meant that 26% of black people, apparently, according to this survey, said it's not okay to be white. But Adams has been a big defender of Trump, and he just announced his cancer diagnosis and the fact that it's a terminal diagnosis as a way of sort of showing, look, he said, have some compassion for President Biden. And I do. Man to man, father to father, I understand. And I feel terrible for this diagnosis. However, it is a massive scandal that this was pretty clearly known while the man was president, but hid from the American people. Was the plan all along for Biden to run again, to beat Trump again, to die in office, or use the cancer diagnosis as a way for him to heroically step aside and pass the torch to the first black female president who, as we saw in November, didn't have a prayer of getting elected on her own? I believe it was the latter. I believe that this cancer was well known even before Biden ran. Now, one thing about prostate cancer that I do happen to know is that it is very slow moving. And if it is subject to hormone or responsive to hormone therapy, you can basically stop it in its tracks and isolate it. Even after it metastasizes to other parts of the body, if you take, I think it's estrogen or something like that, you stop your body from producing testosterone, and the cancer just has nothing to eat. So it sort of just stays there, and you can have prostate cancer for 20, 30 years. In fact, most men who live past the age of 80 are likely to develop prostate cancer. It's sort of a natural age limiter. In fact, it's possible to have prostate cancer well into your 90s and just die of old age. When it metastasizes, and if it is an aggressive form that stops responding to the hormone treatment, then the diagnosis becomes terminal, as unfortunately it's become with Scott Adams. Scott Adams is a cartoonist. He's a political commentator. Why is he more honest with the American people about his diagnosis than the former president of the United States? And more importantly, the people in both the White House and the media who kept telling us Biden is fine. He's as healthy as ever. This is the best version of Biden that there is. Vote for him for more years. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll get some of your reaction. 414-799-1130 coming up next.
Potholes and asphalt deterioration from winter freezing may slow parking lot or driveway traffic down nicely, yet potholes and asphalt are an accident waiting to happen. MudTech 262-337-0934 permanently fixes asphalt with state-of-the-art technology. Holes in asphalt only get worse if left unchecked. The cost of having southeastern Wisconsin's premier concrete releveling asphalt repair technicians, MudTech 262-337-0934. Restore your paved surfaces today is a fraction of the cost of replacement tomorrow. MudTechWorks.com 262-337-0934.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to new laundry rooms and pantries, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Prospect Hill has Wisconsin-grown, climate-acclimated perennials at grower-direct prices to you right now.
Our hanging baskets are healthfully more beautiful than any hardware store or chain garden center plants. They're amazing.
And lovingly grown right here in New Berlin.
One stop, and like so many Wisconsinites, you will call Prospect Hill your garden center.
Make every normal day abnormally beautiful with Prospect Hill at National Avenue and Racine Avenue in New Berlin, bloomsite.com.
Restoring your home or business to its natural beauty is our only business. We are Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner for over 75 years.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna. Here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half of its buying power. That means a $100,000 savings account today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. And you see it every time you fill up your tank or you buy groceries or you pay your bills. Prices are up, your dollar is down. But there's a simple way to protect the value of your savings with something real, something proven, gold. Gold is an asset that holds its value over time. And that's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver and no high pressure sales, no call centers, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, and totally transparent pricing. And right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 1/10 ounce gold coin as a thank you. Head to noblegoldinvestments.com/McKenna today to learn more. That's noblegoldinvestments.com/McKenna. Don't just protect your wealth, preserve its power.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
I lived on a commercial salmon fishing boat in Alaska, and I genuinely think that was the first time I've ever felt myself kind of like slipping mentally. I think Alaska does weird things to people.
If you're interested in hearing anonymous callers like this tell stories from their lives, check out my podcast, Therapy Gecko. You can listen to Therapy Gecko on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Therapy Gecko and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
My mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening. You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
What does it say that so many people, when Biden said that in 2022, chalked it up to, well, he's probably just senile. He doesn't actually have cancer. It seems now, with the benefit of hindsight, and for those who missed the big announcement yesterday, Biden revealed that he does, in fact, have prostate cancer that has metastasized to his bones. This typically indicates that it's a later stage cancer and almost certainly was both present and detectable for at least 6 to 8 years. I don't think I need to draw you a diagram or point out that Biden was not president 6 to 8 years ago. The diagnosis almost certainly came before he ran for president. Now, some would say, well, what does it really matter? Does it matter that the president didn't reveal the fact that he had prostate cancer? I would argue, yes, it does. And in fact, it absolutely does, even though I happen to know that prostate cancer is very slow moving and oftentimes doesn't really impact quality of life if it's caught early, if it's treated, if it's monitored, if, as I said, it is hormone therapy or testosterone therapy respondent, meaning that you can treat it without having to do chemotherapy, without having to do radiation treatment, anything like that. Sometimes there can be a radical prostatectomy that's done. Now, you might remember that Biden's defense secretary in late 2023, Lloyd Austin, just sort of disappeared for a couple of weeks without ever telling anybody that he himself was getting a radical prostatectomy, his prostate removed to be treated for prostate cancer. It seems like now we know why he wasn't disciplined for going AWOL, because his boss was very likely covering up the exact same diagnosis. There is not one doctor that I have seen on television or that I have talked to, and I've actually talked to a couple of them today. Neither of them wanted to be publicly identified, but both actually reached out to me and said, Dan, I specialize in this sort of thing. If Biden was under any sort of care at all, especially for a man his age, because we know every man gets prostate cancer at some point. It might not be the worst thing in the world to just sort of have your prostate preemptively removed because it's eventually going to become cancerous. There is just no chance it could have advanced this rapidly. It could have advanced this far away from the original site without ever being detected, without ever being officially diagnosed. But no worry. Let's go all the way back to November of 2020. Kamala Harris, during the vice presidential debate with Mike Pence, said Joe Biden, if elected, will be the most transparent president in the world when it comes to his health.
Do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents?
Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest. He is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thanks.
Oh, so Trump would cover up his health, but Joe wouldn't. Glad we clarified that. Unhinged liberal of the day, plus a check of the markets with Dave Spano coming up.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Right around 20 minutes either side of 4145 between the Zoo and Good Hope. A little heavier southbound Good Hope to Burleigh. Southbound 43, a half hour. Brown Deer to the Marquette. You got a left lane blocked before Keefe with an accident. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Argo Glass and Windows.
No need to replace windows when you can repair them. Argo Glass and Windows, always offering free estimates using high-quality materials with long-term warranties. So there's no need to replace windows when you can repair them. Visit ArgoWindowRepair.com.
Bob built a brand over the same 20 years INET has. I bought multiple properties over those years. Bob gets real estate like I never will.
In real estate, every brokerage does the same thing. MLS. Adding auction bidding to MLS, I knew if INET branded it, told our story, home sellers would understand and accept this real estate revolutionizing platform.
You can be the best in your industry like Redefined Realty is. Even revolutionize your industry like Redefined Realty has with auction. Yet, it's your story that sells.
You can't tell your story as well as INET Creative Genius will tell your story.
Real estate for winners is exactly what Redefined Realty and auction has always been.
Steven knocked our brand and marketing out of the park.
Selling a home? If you don't use Redefine's MLS and auction platform, you'll leave closing with less money than you would have. Tragic and that simple.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. INET is improving marketing for winners.
INETJustWork.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
People should be judged for the content of their character, not the straightness of their teeth.
I'm Mila. The gracious, caring staff at Ross Dental make straight teeth convenient.
Bo, Mila's big brother here. High school social pressure can make students want to be invisible. Ross Dental straight teeth are confidence building.
With Ross Dental straight teeth, you and your children will smile like you just don't care because you don't.
Dr. Ross did imaging and ordered virtually invisible plastic trays that fit over our teeth, shifting them ever so slightly.
Every 5 days or so, we start new trays that shift teeth a little more.
Unlike conventional braces, we can take the trays off to eat and brush our teeth, and they cost less.
A bonus for me is clicking in my jaw stopped.
Dr. Ross is a great dentist, and Dad says Ross Dental is the best deal.
Family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental straight smiles, and full sedation dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission, your comfort, health, and confidence. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
Start summer with Memorial Day Brewers action and Dollar Hot Dog Day. Keep the long weekend going as the crew battles the Red Sox for 3 games May 26th through the 28th. Get your seats now at Brewers.com.
Attorney Tom Grieve here for Divergent Family Law. You really believed your paths were one and the same until death do you part. Your best interest was their best interest. Increasingly, it's clear you are on divergent paths, having grown apart in interests, goals, even morality. Having made it through the latest battery of holidays, you're now resolved to make your own way. Divergent Family Law is experienced attorneys who will make sure your path is not the lesser of two traversed as you go separate ways. Wisconsin statutes have no provisions for love, hate, or anger. Divorce is the disassembly of a legal contract, the division of assets, and the legal assignment of responsibility for property that cannot be physically divided. No judge or parent can split children in two, physically or emotionally. Family law is experiential. With Divergent Family Law, the outcome is predictable. Our attorneys can tell you up front with considerable accuracy the details of your divorce decree because we know Wisconsin family law. We know the adjudicators and we know your rights. Divergent Family Law, separate and equal or better. DivergentFamilyLaw.com.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Life is unpredictable. Estate planning helps your family face the unknown when you are incapacitated or gone. Do you have a will and power of attorney ready? GrieveCivilLaw.com. Plan today. Have peace of mind tomorrow.
Hi, this is David Wilhelm, here to tell our customers that we take great pride in your loyalty. So thank you for making your clear choice for more Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
After winning Game 2 at Texas, the Milwaukee Admirals return home for Game 3 in their best-of-5 series against the Stars. On the ice, picked off. Here's a breakaway for Weisblatt. Weisblatt shoots, scores! Pre-game coverage Wednesday at 6:30. Face-off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
The David Axelrod talking point is spreading very quickly. Just a couple of moments ago, Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader for the Democrats, said exactly what Axelrod said. We just can't be talking about Joe Biden's decline and all of us who are covering up Joe Biden's mental decline because of his cancer diagnosis. We will get to that in the 4 o'clock hour. Plus, just what is in the one big, beautiful bill? We'll lay it out for you. I think that's the one big, beautiful thing that nobody has bothered to explain. What exactly is it? Why exactly is it so important that we get it passed? First, the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is former FBI Director James Comey, who today went on MSNBC, of course, to just kind of, respond to the country. Just can't believe he is bemused. He is surprised by all the controversy surrounding the 86-47 shell arrangement that he saw while walking on the beach. As he said, look, he told Nicole Wallace, look, I was just on a walk with my wife. I saw some pretty shells.
You were back in the middle of a political firestorm.
Yeah, for walking on the beach with my wife. So I don't know how we ended up here. It never occurred to me that it was any kind of controversial thing, but that's the time we live in.
Oh, yeah, it's just the time we live in. That a message to 86, the president of the United States, coming from the former FBI director, who, by the way, that president fired. It's the times we live in, Nicole. Back in my day, we could talk openly about killing presidents until the cows came home. James Comey, your unhinged liberal of the day. To follow that, the man who has the unenviable task of trying to restore sanity to the Dan O'Donnell Show, we bring in Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Big downgrade for the United States credit rating from Moody's, Dave, but stocks mostly shrugged it off today.
Yeah, they really did. You think about Moody's downgrading the most secure treasury in the world, and it did get downgraded. It was interesting. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said it's a lagging indicator. What he meant by that is that this is the debt and the deficit that was accrued over the last term, and now they're finally just catching up. The true arbiter is probably not Moody's, but the market itself. And so you look at what the 10-year Treasury is trading at, what the 30-year Treasury is trading at. If those interest rates start to creep back up because investors think it's a riskier security, that is really what we want to look at. So that is not what we're worried about right now. What we are watching is the EU warning of slower growth. And at the same time, they are lowering interest rates. You look at what the ECB is going to do. You look at what China is going to do. Are they going to have further currency devaluation? All of this is important, and all of it ties together not only with politics locally, but also economics. As you said, Dan, the market has shrugged it off. Folks, you have to look at your portfolio and make sure you're in tune with what's going on. Make sure you know what you own, why you own it, and how much you're paying for it.
And that's why you need to head to annexwealth.com for a review of your portfolio. You can do just that. It is free. It is easy. And you got to head to annexwealth.com today. Dave Spano, always appreciate you hopping on, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan.
Coming up, the bombshell book by Jake Tapper, in which Jake Tapper reveals that Jake Tapper helped cover up Joe Biden's mental cognition decline, is set to be released tomorrow. But according to Democrats, a growing chorus of them, well, we should probably just ignore that because Biden just announced he had cancer. Another Democrat, a prominent one, saying it. We will get to that, plus the daily Trump date, a hugely significant day at the White House. A very big bill signed, possible peace between Ukraine and Russia. We'll get to all of that and more when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns after this.
Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon, I'm Dave Michaels. This morning, federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI, were spotted outside Duty Fashion, a business on the south side of Milwaukee. No word as to what they're investigating. The U.S. Supreme Court today handed President Trump a victory over the status of some Venezuelan migrants. The high court lifted a lower court's injunction that blocked the termination of a program that protected the status of those migrants. The 4 o'clock business report brought to you by the Good Feet store. The Dow up today, 137 points. The NASDAQ fell 26, while the S&P dropped 1. Checking the Holiday Automotive Final Export scoreboard. Brewers go for their second straight win tonight. They're home to play the Orioles at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels. On Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Cloudy skies today with sprinkles at times and temperatures in the 40s to mid-50s, coolest near the lake. Steady soaking rain expected Tuesday, plus windy and cool. Rain showers end later Wednesday, then sunny the rest of the week. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Lowe's, we help you save. Valid through 5/28. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Five Corners Auto Group is celebrating 85 years of keeping America rolling. Thanks to manpower, woman power, and horsepower. From Ram trucks to Isuzu trucks, from Dodge Chrysler Jeep to flatbeds, dump bodies, fire trucks, and motorhomes. If it has wheels, Five Corners Auto Group is on call. Yes, even trucks needing DOT inspections. Come see why people trust our certified and successful sales, service, and body shop team. Your one-stop destination for reliable vehicles and top-tier service. Five Corners, Highway 60, Cedarburg.
Bob here for Redefine Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com.
Brian here. I was in the market to buy my first home. I rushed to see houses the day they went live on MLS. Made offers on 5 houses before finally getting the 6th accepted. I would increase my bid on all 5 of the other houses I didn't get, but never got the chance.
Brian's story is tragic for Brian, but also for sellers. Brian would have paid more for each of the 5 houses he didn't get. That's 5 sellers guided by traditional MLS agents who sold their home for less than they could have. Redefined Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com's auction platform and MLS, would have earned all 5 Wisconsin area home sellers more money, a lot more money. Selling a fixer-upper, a duplex, a condo, a $400,000 home, or a multi-million-dollar home. When buyers bid, sellers win. In fact, when buyers bid, buyers win too. Heck, everybody wins at Redefine Realty and EasyHomeBidder.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Obvious, but revolutionary. When buyers win, sellers win. It's real estate for winners. RedefineRealty.com.
Real feedback from Brookfield and Mequon's Reset Restore MD patient.
My daughter's intravenous ketamine treatments made a significant difference in just 2 weeks.
R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
We're the Libby family.
At Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
We're not a home center.
Everyone here is an expert who really knows their stuff.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
I gave it a shot. I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again.
When the national news media prided itself on getting the story right, those days are gone. Now it's slanted stories, unnamed sources, and fake news. The goal no longer is to inform you. The goal is to indoctrinate you. Here at News Talk 1130 WISN, our show hosts will give you straightforward information and honest analysis. That is our commitment, and that is our daily mission. News Talk 1130 WISN. Real life, real news, real good. Profound insight, piercing analysis. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Say what you will about David Axelrod, the man is still very influential in Democrat circles. How influential? Yesterday, he said, well, we shouldn't really be talking about the cover-up of Biden's obvious mental decline now that he has prostate cancer. Just a couple of minutes ago, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries echoed that and said, for shame, if you dare bring up the bombshell book that's scheduled to be released tomorrow, in which people just like Hakeem Jeffries are all implicated in said cover-up. We'll get to that in just a second. First, you want to join us? The AdventNows.com talk and text line here at the Dan O'Donnell Show is always open, 414-799-1130. Reach us toll-free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. 4 o'clock word in the Spring Green Cash Contest. Fun, F-U-N, fun. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword fun to enter the contest for this hour. Have some fun with $1,000 in your pocket if your entry is picked at random. F-U-N, fun. This is going to be fun. Speaking of F-U, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries essentially gave a big F-U to anyone who dares to ask the relevant questions about just what was known about Biden's cancer diagnosis, just what was known about how far gone he actually was mentally in his presidency. Don't you dare bring any of that up now that the man has cancer.
It seems to me entirely inappropriate that at this moment in time, when President Biden is dealing with a serious and aggressive form of cancer, there are Republicans who are peddling conspiracy theories and want us to look backward at a time when they actually are taking health care away from the American people. No, as House Democrats, we're going to look forward. They literally are trying to take health care away from millions of Americans at this very moment in the dead of night.
Dead of night.
And Republicans want to fan the flames of conspiracy theories at this moment, no thank you.
Conspiracy theories being peddled by Jake Tapper of CNN, Democrats' second favorite television network behind only MSDNC. And Alex Thompson of Politico, a reliably left-wing inside Washington rag. Those conspiracy theories, what he's talking about in the dead of night, it was a very late night for House Republicans for the one big beautiful bill. It came out of committee last night, and they are eyeing a Wednesday vote to try to get this over to the Senate and then hopefully passed out of there where President Trump will be able to sign it. The original goal was Memorial Day weekend. They may actually get to it. What exactly is in that one big beautiful bill? Find out. We'll break it down coming up later this hour. It's sort of remarkable and remarkably telling that this might be the only show where one of the more consequential tax bills and a big omnibus bill, this is why it's being called the One Big Beautiful Bill, is actually being broken down and explained. That coming up following the daily Trump date. Could there be peace between Russia and Ukraine? President Trump signs another big, very important bill into law this afternoon. That's coming up, plus Unsung Hero of the Day. Now, where did Hakeem Jeffries get the idea that Democrats were all going to say, look, now is not the time to look backwards. Now is the time to look forwards. Republicans are trying to kick people off Medicaid. Do you know who they're trying to kick people off? What people they're trying to kick off? 1.4 million illegal immigrants who should not under any circumstances be getting Medicaid to begin with, but somehow are getting it. We'll get into that, as I said, later on this hour. But for right now, Jeffries rather obviously got this from CNN, the exact same network whose host he's accusing of being a conspiracy theorist, and David Axelrod, one of its analysts, who in the immediate aftermath of Biden's announcement coming out yesterday afternoon said, look, now is not the time to be talking about the very pertinent question of when the president's mind was gone, how far was it gone, could he actually function as president, and why, when every Democrat was demanding that he drop out of the presidential race, were none of them dropping out, or rather none of them demanding that President Biden drop out of the presidency and resign. It would have been arguably a much easier path for Kamala Harris to run as an incumbent president, even an incumbent of just a couple of months. Axelrod waved all of those very obvious, very pertinent, very relevant, and very significant questions away by saying, no. Now we've just got to focus on the cancer.
His medical condition now, his announced medical condition now, do you believe that silences or is a lot of conversations about his, last year and a half of his presidency for now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think those conversations are going to happen, but they should be more muted and set aside for now as he's struggling through this.
No, those conversations need to be louder because now it's obvious that they were covering up prostate cancer in addition to just a declining mental state. The bottom line is that this president was very likely not fit for office. This man was very likely not fit for office, either mentally or physically, from the time he first started running. How else could you explain the fact that all of a sudden prostate cancer metastasized to the bones, getting to a very apparently grim diagnosis when prostate cancer is one of the most treatable, one of the most easily recognized, one of the most easily seen and diagnosed, slowest moving cancers that there is? I am willing to put any amount of money on the line, and obviously with the fact that Biden and his team and the media that covers him have not been honest about anything, it would be rather impossible to actually get a straight answer and get to the truth. But I'm willing to wager any amount of money that Biden has had prostate cancer for a bare minimum of 7 to 8 years. Minimum. You're telling me that after 4 years of being president of the United States, 4 years before that, he was vice president of the United States, and under the care of some of the very best physicians on planet Earth, where every bowel movement is monitored and tracked. I'm only being partially hyperbolic here, because the president's health, the vice president's health, are of such tantamount concern to the entire nation that they just sort of missed the fact that he had prostate cancer that was dramatically worsening, and they allowed it to metastasize. Nobody noticed it until it metastasized to the bone. Well, Peter Doocy of Fox News today asked White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, is that even possible? Is it possible that the White House doctors missed this? And is the current White House concerned about the care of the current president, given the fact that the last one is trying to make us believe that his cancer either just popped out of nowhere, which no doctor is saying, or that the White House physicians who were caring for him for the previous 4 years just didn't notice?
White House doctors may have missed the early stages of his prostate cancer. So is President Trump worried about the quality of care that presidents get here?
Not as far as President Trump is concerned. The White House physician we have here is phenomenal, and the team of physicians that take care of the president, particularly at Walter Reed Medical Center, are great. The president had his physical recently, as you know. He had perfect results. He's in very good shape. I think those of you who traveled to the Middle East with us last week can attest to the president's endurance. And by the way, I will add, we returned home from a very long and tiring trip last week. And on Saturday, where was the president? In the Oval Office working all day. He doesn't stop. He doesn't quit. He's in great health, and he trusts his physicians.
Moreover, how many times have we heard that all Trump does is golf? You had the last president on vacation 39% of the days that he was in office. What I think we can now safely report is that at least some of those days, he was going to his home in Wilmington, Delaware, his vacation home in Rehoboth Beach, in order to see an oncologist who I think was treating him, but didn't have to sign any White House visitor logs. When the president goes to Walter Reed for treatment, there is necessarily a log of that. If a doctor is going to the White House, you need to be, look, folks, I've been to the White House twice in the past couple of months broadcasting. I had to wear a giant placard around my neck that essentially said, do not leave this person unsupervised. You think I'm kidding? I was like a giant toddler that they don't allow you to walk around unsupervised. They need to know everybody who is there at all times. It's a matter of national security. Ergo, they know everybody who is in the White House at all times. You have to check in. You are scanned. You are given background check after background check after background check. But at the president's personal residence, where the president's personal oncologist might be located, there are no visitor logs. That's a little convenient, isn't it? It's also a little convenient that the president's PSA tests are not publicly available as part of his medical record, nor is there any reference beyond some sort of vague generality regarding the president's prostate health. For all 4 years of his presidency, they didn't bother to test his prostate levels at age 80. When it's well known that every man is very likely to get diagnosed with or at least develop prostate cancer. And while it is likely that you have prostate cancer for many years, if you're not getting annual PSA tests, and please let this be my plea to you, not only do you need, and everybody knows every couple of years you've got to get a colonoscopy once you reach like age 45, right? Everybody knows that because of just how awful it seems like it is. Everybody who's told me this says the prep is way worse. Let's just say you need to clear a few hours of your schedule for a reservation with the bathroom before you go in, and the colonoscopy itself isn't a big deal. But let me make this my plea. Get an annual PSA test. It is very easy. It's a simple blood draw. If your PSA levels are anywhere over 1, go in for that follow-up testing, a physical screening. Yes, it's exactly what it seems like with the rubber glove and everything. I've only had one. It was not particularly pleasant, but the PSA test will determine if you need to go for further screening. Like I said, almost every man at some point in his life is going to develop prostate cancer. You don't want to be surprised by a prostate cancer that has gotten out of control. And when I say that it's impossible for Biden, of all people, to have not known about this or for this not to have been diagnosed, well, it's entirely possible for an average Joe like you or me to go years without a doctor's appointment. Maybe you skip those annual physicals. Maybe you don't see it being that important to get your prostate tested. A president of the United States rather obviously will have every single test done once a year, and at a certain age, probably more than once a year, especially if there is any indicator of concern. It is not just inconceivable that President Biden would not have gotten cancer screenings and that prostate cancer would have so rapidly and so dramatically metastasized without anybody noticing it. It is flatly impossible. Coming up next, a pretty significant day at the Trump White House. We will get into all of it. Your daily Trump date, what you might have missed while you were at work. Coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Talk Radio redefined. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Eastbound 94, stall off to the right shoulder at 76, slow 70th to Mitchell Boulevard. Westbound delays 35th to Mitchell Boulevard, out at Sunny Slope, a stall on the right shoulder. Moreland to Marquette in both directions taking 13 minutes. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
I'm Patty from Prospect Hill.
Prospect Hill is a destination garden center. People from across southeastern Wisconsin come for our superior variety of Wisconsin-grown, climate-acclimated perennials.
Mike's right. Think about it. If you invest in perennial happiness with flowers, shrubs, and trees, don't you want the best, most beautiful, healthy plants and nursery stock?
Unlike hardware stores or chain garden centers, Prospect Hill grows plants. Grown right here in New Berlin, our perennials are hardier and healthier.
Because we are the grower, there is no middleman driving up the price. Our superior plants cost less at Prospect Hill. Our trees, shrubs, and perennial flowers bring a lifetime of happiness.
Even the soil we use, a proprietary mix of beneficial ingredients and mycorrhizae, help perennials start stronger, larger, and prettier in this climate.
Your yard will be a slice of paradise. Make every normal day abnormally beautiful with Prospect Hill, National Avenue and Racine Avenue in New Berlin. Bloomsite.com.
If you are waiting for a sign to finally create your will, this is it. Give your family peace of mind. Contact griefcivillaw.com today, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed.
Need a tree on the ground now? Cut and Go offers same day or next day half service tree removal. We do the dangerous part, putting the trees on the ground in orderly fashion. You do the cleanup. A Trees and Tons movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond, from garages to new home offices. Our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Attorney Tom Grieve here for Divergent Family Law. Making only left turns navigating roads is far more difficult. Eating only dessert leads to malnourishment. Doing one gender divorce forgoes expertise. Divergent Family Law is better at both sides of divorce due to complex, vast experience on both sides of divorce. Gentlemen, if you believe women are inferior, Divergent Family Law is the wrong divorce firm for you. If, however, you believe your wife is a cunning, manipulative, superior woman who will do anything to destroy your future path, Divergent Family Law is the right firm for you. Ladies, if your husband hires a misogynist divorce firm, Divergent attorneys will block any gender-based outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, Divergent Family Law attorneys know Wisconsin family law. We know the proclivities of members of the judiciary, and so we can predict upfront how your divorce decree will read before it is written, regardless of your spouse's attorney. Divergent Family Law, separate and equal or better. DivergentFamilyLaw.com.
Hello?
Mr. Hoban?
Yes?
Hi, this is Amy from First American Bank. I got your message that you called, and I'm calling you right back.
Okay, I'll hold.
Oh, I'm not putting you on hold.
I'll just finish my tuna fish sandwich here and stay on hold until you get back to me.
No, Mr. Hoban.
Can you make it before the end of the day, though? I have a gentle yoga class at 7.
Mr. Hoban, are you new to First American Bank?
Yeah, I figured you got to be better than the big bank I was at. But I'm ready to hold now.
Mr. Hoban, I'm not putting you on hold.
What?
First American Bank is built on superb customer service. Huh. So besides offering the best loan deals in town, cash management service, and more, if we can't take your call right away, we call you back as soon as possible. First American Bank thinks of it as treating our customers like family. You treat your family with consideration and respect, right?
Can you put me on hold while I think about that?
Mr. Hoban.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will get your daily Trump date in just a second. First, some breaking news. A text has gone out to UW-Platville students indicating an emergency. This is the text that went out to students. An emergency situation has been reported on campus. Avoid campus and shelter in place. More information will be forthcoming. A follow-up text says emergency. Avoid the Wilgus Hall area at this time. Wilgus Hall is a student dorm. It is unclear what exactly is going on there. I have seen unconfirmed reports of some sort of mass casualty incident. Platteville, of course, is in Grant County in the far southwestern corner of the state. Wilgus Hall is a dorm that, according to the UW-Platville website, houses approximately 230 students. The University of Wisconsin-Platteville enrolls about 6,500, give or take. It is a smaller school in the UW system, and graduation was not this past weekend, but a week ago. So it doesn't appear there would have been a lot of students on campus. Obviously, summer sports, summer school, summer classes, that sort of thing. The campus doesn't totally shut down. So there are still people on there. I'm not going to go with any unconfirmed reports right now. but it does sound like there is definitely something going on at the UW-Platville campus. And we will, of course, as we learn more, bring you more details here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We certainly pray for everybody who is on campus, that everyone is safe, that this is a false alarm of some sort. I will try to call. I don't have a whole lot of producer Eric and I were racking our brains to try to find some sources in Platteville. If you have any information, any confirmed information about what might be going on, please feel free to give us a text, 414-799 on the adventknows.com talk and text line. As you can imagine, we cannot, for all manner of reasons, put callers on the air. Just shoot us a text or email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com. If it's easier, you can reach me through Facebook Messenger, as I do check that regularly. I do have my messages left open, so anybody who has any information, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. We will keep our eye on that throughout the remainder of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Right now, though, it's about 4:30, and each and every day of the Trump administration, we try to bring you the unfiltered news. By the time the evening newscasts hit, by the time the nightly cable political shows hit, everything that happened during the day is filtered through liberal spin. And we know you work, and we also know that this is one of the busiest, most consequential presidential administrations in our lifetimes. And that's why we want to keep you up to date on everything that happened while you were at work. Time now, ladies and gentlemen, for the Daily Trump Date.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
President Trump, just a couple of hours ago, signed into law one of his wife, the First Lady's biggest priorities, the Take It Down Act, which criminalizes the publication of or the threat to publish non-consensual, intimate, or sexual images. It also requires internet platforms to establish and implement a notice and a takedown process.
Today, it's my honor to officially sign the Take It Down Act into law. It's a big thing, very important, so horrible what takes place. This will be the first ever federal law to combat the distribution of explicit, imaginary, posted without subject's consent. They take horrible pictures, and I guess sometimes even make up the pictures, and they post it without consent or anything else. And very importantly, this includes for forgeries generated by artificial intelligence known as deepfakes.
This is a landmark piece of legislation that almost certainly will not get the coverage that it deserves. So it's a big, big deal to allow for revenge porn or AI-generated images and videos. And folks, with the advancement of AI, this is going to be a much bigger problem than people think, of just random people's faces being superimposed on pornographic images, or just completely AI-generated pornographic images or videos of real people using their voices, using their faces, using AI depictions of their naked bodies. This is a big piece of legislation. Now, earlier today, the president got a big win from the United States Supreme Court, which voted 8-1 to allow the revocation of special legal protections for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan illegals, which would pave the way for them to be deported. The High Court granted this afternoon an emergency application filed by the administration, meaning officials can move forward with reversing a decision made at the very end of the Biden administration to extend protections for 350,000 Venezuelans under the federal temporary protected status program. The only justice who opposed the measure, Ketanji Brown Jackson, because of course she did. President Trump today held a 2-hour call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He and Putin both said went very well. The president, in a Truth post, social post today, said, "I believe the call went very well. Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war. The conditions for that will be negotiated between the two parties, as it can only be, because they know details of a negotiation that nobody else would be aware of. The tone and spirit of the conversation were excellent. If it wasn't, I would say so now rather than later. Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the United States when this catastrophic bloodbath is over. And I agree, there is a tremendous opportunity for Russia to create massive amounts of jobs and wealth. Its potential is unlimited." Once again, you see the president leveraging trade with the United States to get non-trade ends. The president also today said maybe the Vatican could host those negotiations, and wouldn't you know it, look who was in Vatican City for Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope's inaugural mass. It was Vice President J.D. Vance, who, along with Second Lady Usha, got a tour of the Pope's private residence and possibly discussed that very suggestion that the Vatican be the site for those ceasefire talks. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has agreed to pay nearly $5 million to the family of Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer on January 6th. Washington Post was first with the settlement details, citing 2 people briefed on the matter. They said the Trump administration has agreed to the settlement. 1/3 of that money goes to the lawyers representing Babbitt's family. The settlement follows a $30 million lawsuit Babbitt's family filed last year. All eyes in Washington today are on the House of Representatives, which itself is eyeing a Wednesday vote on President Trump's big, beautiful bill, which came out of committee late last night following a revote. Steve Moran, chairman of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, predicts that it will pass.
The bill is big, the bill is beautiful, and it's going to be great for America. It will pass. President Trump is the best negotiator in history. He's negotiated hundreds of deals over the course of a decades-long career in every field, from housing to commercial real estate to international trade deals, and the president will get this bill over the line too.
So what exactly does the one big beautiful bill actually do, and why does it absolutely need to pass? We will explain coming up next. We will also try to find some more details about what is exactly going on the UW-Platville campus. Stay tuned. You are not going to want to miss what's coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Northbound 43 is heavy up to Keefe with ongoing right lane construction. A half hour to Brown Deer. Southbound just under a half hour. Add another 10 onto 4394 with delays down to the KK River. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Accident Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days, because most banks still issue pre-approval letters without actually verifying your income, employment, or down payment. That's the exact opposite of an Accunet rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval, where we put a $2,000 guarantee behind the fact the seller can actually rely on the terms of your pre-approval and offer. With Accunet, there's also a possibility of issuing a property-specific pre-approval with as little as a 10% down payment that includes the magic words, "no appraisal required." That's right, Accunet may be able to issue your pre-approval without needing an appraisal. That's the kind of certainty that can help a seller say yes to your offer. Sure, you can try competing with a flimsy bank pre-approval, or you can click on the blue button at Accunet.com and get started with the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as the best in the business. That's ACCUNET.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
Start summer with Memorial Day Brewers action and Dollar Hot Dog Day. Keep the long weekend going as the crew battles the Red Sox for 3 games May 26th through the 28th. Get your seats now at brewers.com.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Every time a friend stops over or you get a package delivered, are you reminded how much you can't stand your front door? Hi, Colleen with Tri-County Contracting. One of the most impactful home improvements you can do, both for the wow factor and the return on investment, is a new front entry door. From interior and exterior colors to specialty glass to side lights, we can help you create your perfect door. Does the patio door open hard every time you let the dog out or when you are going out to the patio to grill? We can help. At Tri-County Contracting, our window and door team is ready to install one window or the windows on your whole house. With free estimates and everything priced out separately, give us a call and see what fits your budget. Whether it's new windows, a new front entry door, a new patio door, new siding, or all of the above, we can get your project going quickly. Visit TriCountyContractingWI.com to request a free estimate. For 46 years, Tri-County Contracting has been helping homeowners just like you make their homes look incredible. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Hi, I'm Joseph, owner of the EWH University for Small Business, and I want to be your business coach. One of our clients, a small business remodeler, was struggling with teamwork and communication. We helped show him and his team tools and strategies to better communicate and work better together, a goal so many small businesses share. This is why you should tune in to WISN Sundays at 11 a.m., WISN Sundays at 11 a.m. for our small business radio show to help you too grow your small business. To learn more, visit EWHUniversity.com, EWHUniversity.com.
Real feedback from Brookfield and Mequon's Reset Restore MD patient.
My daughter's intravenous ketamine treatments made a significant difference in just 2 weeks.
R&R for relief. Reset Restore MD. rnrmd.com.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
I lived on a commercial salmon fishing boat in Alaska, and I genuinely think that was the first time I've ever felt myself kind of like slipping mentally. I think Alaska does weird things to people.
If you're interested in hearing anonymous callers like this tell stories from their lives, check out my podcast, Therapy Gecko. You can listen to Therapy Gecko on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Therapy Gecko and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Now, back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. 1, 2, 3,
shelter-in-place order has been issued at UW-Platville, a University of Wisconsin system school, home to about 6,500 students who are, according to a number of listeners who have children who go there, taking final exams right now. I was a little confused because graduation was this past Saturday, the 17th. Some schools, they'll do this and some high schools will do this too, where you have graduation and the underclassmen are still taking final exams. So there are still a good number of students on campus right now. There was some sort of incident, according to the text that was sent to all students at Wilgus Hall, and now WMTV and WKOW in Madison are both reporting that there is a very large police presence. Platteville Police Department says it has responded to the campus. Now, there are unconfirmed reports of some sort of mass casualty incident. Now, I don't want to let that term scare you too badly. When they say mass casualty, they don't mean mass death, that there are 10, 12 people killed or something like that, that there are several people injured. A casualty does not necessarily mean that someone has died, but it does mean that there is a concern that there are multiple people injured in what is at least initially being feared to be some sort of shooting incident on campus. Whether or not this was a mass shooting, it is still far too early to tell. We are just going with what we have confirmed, and that is that at about 4:05 this afternoon, so roughly 40 minutes ago, there was a text sent out to all students, and that all that text said was, I've got to go back through my texts. That text said, an emergency situation has been reported on campus. Avoid campus and shelter in place. More information will be forthcoming. The only follow-up was sent about a minute or two later. Emergency, avoid the Wilgus Hall area at this time, suggesting obviously that the incident, if it was some sort of attack or something like that, took place at Wilgus Hall. That's all we know thus far. The one big, beautiful bill, and we will continue to bring you the latest information as we get it. Again, please keep that information coming. For our text line, my email address is dod@iheartmedia.com. I know a lot of people have children there. Wilgus Hall is apparently the all-female dorm, says one listener. It is not saying on the it sponsors an annual women's weekend. It also is home to the women's wellness interest community. All right. It doesn't say that it's women only or perhaps female identifying only. We will see. All right. One big, beautiful bill. What exactly does it do? A lot of people just aren't really getting all of the details. The big highlights, of course, are no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. This also, the biggest thing is that it makes the Trump tax cuts, the tax cuts from the first Trump administration, the ones passed by President Trump, and shepherded through both houses of Congress. Let's not forget and give some credit where credit's due by former House Speaker Paul Ryan. It makes those tax cuts permanent. That's the biggest thing. It does provide tax relief to recipients of Social Security, and it protects Medicaid. It doesn't rip Medicaid away from people who are deserving of it. It kicks off 1.4 million illegal immigrants who are gaming the system, and that estimate might end up being a low-end number.
It also has a big component of border security, funding President Trump's border wall, 701 miles, 900 miles of river barriers, 629 miles of secondary barriers, and 141 miles of pedestrian and vehicle barriers, along with funding for cutting-edge technology, drone technology, motion sensor technology, that sort of thing. It also hires more ICE agents, 10,000 of them to be precise, as well as 5,000 new customs officers and 3,000 new Border Patrol agents. It also modernizes air traffic control. You heard Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announce this a while back, that there is going to be a complete overhaul of the nation's air traffic control system. Rather alarmingly, a lot of it is run on floppy disks. When is the last time you have ever used a floppy disk? The One Big Beautiful Bill also prohibits Medicaid funding for gender transition for minors, among a number of other things. We will get to more of that, plus what happened at the Republican convention over the weekend here in Wisconsin. Did it go anywhere in healing the deep divide between Turning Point and party loyalists? No, not really. We will also name the unsung hero of the day. I'm really proud of this one. She is a personal friend and prominent in the Milwaukee conservative community.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Northbound 43 is heavy up to Keefe with ongoing right lane construction. A half hour to Brown Deer. Southbound just under a half hour. Add another 10 onto 4394 with delays down to the KK River. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling.
This heat is unbearable.
Keep your family comfortable with First Choice Heating. For a limited time, get $89 off your AC and heating tune-up. Milwaukee's trusted HVAC company, firstchoiceheating.com.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
Grab your shades, your flip-flops, and your free iHeartRadio app for the start of summer 2025. No matter where you go this summer, your favorite radio station, the music you love, and the best podcasts in the world will be along for the adventure. Make sure you have the free iHeartRadio app in your phone today.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs. Even mold and bacteria in your home.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Puts existing concrete back to grade, keeping water away from your foundation for a fraction of patio or driveway replacement cost.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
For a free estimate today.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Permanently fixes asphalt with state-of-the-art technology. Uneven sagging stairs and walkways are easily evened out for less than you are guessing with M to the U to the D to the T to the E to the C to the H.
262-337-0934.
The cost of having southeastern Wisconsin's premier concrete releveling and asphalt repair technicians at MudTech.
262-337-0934.
Restore your paved surfaces today is a fraction of the cost of replacement tomorrow. Call right now.
262-337-0934.
MudTechWorks.com.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians
technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
I love Mother's Day, but why just today? Why not make May the month of mothers? Every mom is special and every day special at the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Ridgefield. Just take the Holy Hill exit from Highway 41, turn west, and then take the first right at Wolf Road. The Sawmill will be just around the bend on your left.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. Life is unpredictable, and the consequences of not planning for the future can be devastating. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you ended up in the hospital without the ability to make your own medical decisions? Or what will happen to your family if you die without a will? Without a power of attorney, your family could face agonizing decisions without knowing what you wanted. You could undergo medical interventions you don't want, or worse, lie in limbo while medical staff tries to determine who should have the final say in what happens to you. When you're gone, your loved ones could end up in probate with legal battles, high court costs and fees, and family disputes over your assets. In probate, everyone can see your assets, from the government to your nosy neighbors. Plan today so you can have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't leave your family in chaos and confusion. Contact Grieve Civil Law today, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Visit grievecivillaw.com.
If your home needs new roofing, siding, windows, or doors, then call my friends at Weather Pro Exteriors. You see, big remodeling projects like these require a reliable contractor, and homeowners across Wisconsin plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Scheduled today at weatherproexteriors.com.
Offering one of the strongest lineups of talk show hosts in the history of local radio. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show as we continue to follow breaking news from the UW-Platville campus, where a shelter-in-place order has been given about 50 minutes ago. The first text went out saying, avoid campus, and if you are on campus, shelter in place. Follow-up text told students avoid the Wilgus Hall dormitory, which is either an all-girls dorm or a co-ed dorm. We're not entirely sure. Houses about 300 some students. There are unconfirmed reports that I am getting from people on campus now that indicate that there was some sort of shooting incident. We are being told that there is a very large police presence on campus, which could be indicative of that sort of event. So far, no word from official sources, only that scanner traffic indicated before the traffic moved to a secure tactical channel that is not accessible by people with a police band scanner, that there were multiple casualties, which means injuries. It doesn't necessarily mean deaths, but what is clear is that there is some sort of incident that is going on right now at the UW-Platville campus. We will wait until we get more confirmed information, but suffice it to say that if you have kids who go there, if you have friends who go there, please check to make sure that they are okay. And we will bring you all the details as we get them. We have an hour to go here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, and I will be on social media pretty much all night making sure that you are up to date. Today's Today's Unsung Hero of the Day is presented by Blue Line Cleaning Services, residential and commercial cleaning done by professionals. And today's Unsung Hero of the Day is my dear friend, Pastor Virginia Pratt, who has just opened Prosper Community Outreach on Martin Luther King Drive in Milwaukee, looking to uplift those most in need. Today's TMJ4 reporter Gideon Verdon with the story.
Pastor Virginia Pratt is moved to tears when she talks about her vision.
To make a difference in people's lives and show them that there is a way out. I'm Dr. Virginia Pratt.
She grew up in the segregated South, where chasing her own dreams meant pushing through barriers. Those hardships didn't break her. They built her purpose.
I wanted to be a role model to show people that, hey, what I went through in life, you can do it too.
The new center offers housing resources, mentorship, mental health support, and a safe space for families, powered by love, faith, and community.
I wanted to bring it out here into community to show people, hey, that you got people like me that really care for you.
She spent decades guiding others from struggle to stability. Her experience has shaped a life mission rooted in giving back.
And what I can tell you about Pastor Pratt is that she is incredibly giving. I have gotten to know her over the past couple of years. She is very prominent in the conservative movement in Milwaukee. She is also a very, very, very kind-hearted person. In fact, she was so kind-hearted that a few years ago, she honored me with a special award for being a voice in the Milwaukee community. She gave me a trophy that I am not even kidding you is about 3.5 feet tall. It was at the time bigger than my daughter, and it has a golden microphone on it, and I cherish that. And as soon as we have a space for it, once our basement is finished, it's going right there. Pastor Pratt, I am honored to call you a friend. You are a great voice in the conservative movement in Milwaukee, and you are the unsung hero of the day. We are getting more information about what is going on the UW-Platville campus. We will bring you that. Also, complete analysis of the Republican Party of Wisconsin's annual convention. Who won the straw poll? Is there any sign of a détente, a ceasefire between Turning Point and RPW? All of that coming up when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Listen to Clay and Buck, weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill cleared the GOP-led Budget Committee in the House yesterday. While the package includes an increase for immigration enforcement and an extension of Trump's 2017 tax cuts, Senator Ron Johnson told the Republican Party convention over the weekend that the bill is anything but beautiful.
The Big Beautiful Bill isn't what it's advertised to be. We wouldn't be decreasing the deficit. We're not going to be bending the debt curve down. We would be exacerbating the problem by a total of about $4 trillion over the next 10 years.
And 6 teenagers were arrested after a police pursuit yesterday that started in Wauwatosa and ended with a crash in Milwaukee. Police have determined that vehicle was stolen. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, Quinn Priester pitching tonight for the Brewers. They're home to play the Orioles. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Mostly cloudy and windy tonight. Temperatures in the 40s all night. Get ready for a rainy and windy Tuesday. Rain moving in from the southwest with a high of 48. More rain on Wednesday. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Argo Glass and Windows.
No need to replace windows when you can repair them. Argo Glass and Windows, always offering free estimates using high-quality materials with long-term warranties. So there's no need to replace windows when you can repair them. Visit ArgoWindowRepair.com.
A Mickey Mantle baseball card sold for $12.6 million at auction. A baseball card, a fixer-upper in need of a ton of work, a median market value $300,000 home, or a multi-million-dollar home. Auctions increase final sales prices. Redefined Realty traditional MLS listing enhanced by EasyHomeBidder.com auction sells homes for more. Buyers can make a traditional offer and or compete and win at auction. RedefinedRealty.com. Obvious but revolutionary. When buyers win, sellers win. Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to entertainment centers, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Seed oils, the number one source of calories in American diets, developed as engine fuel in industrial lubricants, only ended up in the food supply for profit. Seed oils cause arthritis, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and chronic illness. Medical doctors prescribe dozens of pharmaceuticals for life to treat symptoms of those diseases. Why don't they tell you to stop consuming poison? I'll tell you why. You sick is profitable. At Total Health, we teach eliminating seed oils from your diet improves true health and how you feel. Total Health finds the root cause of your fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleeplessness, then works with you, the whole you, eliminating symptoms and the chronic disease causing those symptoms. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution is true. Total Health's holistic practitioners utilize proven science to help you feel and truly be the most helpful and well you. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
A little inside baseball that you may or may not know. I won't endorse a business unless I've used the product myself or I've thoroughly researched it and believe in it. Hi, everybody. It's Jay Weber. When the folks at Semperfi Roofing approached me to be their spokesman, I didn't need a new roof, so I went to work doing the research. I've got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen customer reviews quite like what I found with Semperfi. Hundreds of 5-star reviews, and not just vanilla 5-star ratings or simple clicks. Semperfi's customers are very outspoken about the great customer service and expert installation they received. Look, hiring the right contractor is a big decision. There's a lot of fly-by-nighters out there. If you want a new roof perfectly installed for real peace of mind, I've already done the research for you. I cannot recommend Semperfi Roofing highly enough. Call for your free no-obligation estimate, 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com. That's semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. I'm Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Joe Still with your closing business report. The major averages finished higher today as stocks erased earlier losses amid Moody's downgrade of the U.S. credit rating, which was cut from AAA to AA1, citing escalating deficits and an increasing burden of refinancing U.S. debt amid elevated interest rates. Meanwhile, shares of United Health climbed 7% as investors bought shares of the beaten down stock, which lost 23% last week. United Health had suspended its 2025 guidance, announced its CEO is stepping down, and is reportedly the subject of a U.S. Department of Justice investigation. At the close, the Dow was up 137 to 42,792. The S&P 500 rose 5, and the Nasdaq was higher by 4 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Joe Still.
Just a quick update on the critical incident at UW-Platville. The shelter-in-place order that was issued for students almost exactly an hour ago has now been lifted, meaning that whatever was going on, there is no longer an active threat. No real surprises there, as these sorts of incidents tend to be over very, very quickly. The order included a directive to stay away from Wilgus Hall, which apparently has 3 floors of girls' dormitories and 1 floor of a boys' dormitory. I guess there's no such thing as an all-boys dorm, all-girls dorm anymore. There is a massive police presence there. Anytime you get what was initially reported as a potential mass casualty incident on police band scanner radio traffic, you are going to get a huge response. Beyond that, there is nothing that has been confirmed. I've heard from a number of people who are on campus or who have kids or other relatives on campus who say it does seem like and is being treated by officials on campus, campus police, law enforcement, as some sort of shooting incident. But as of right now, whether this was a shooting of somebody else, whether this was a suicide with a gun, we just don't know. So we will bring you the very latest as we get it, because we know a number of people in our listening audience do have kids there, do have students there. Yes, I am aware that last week, and I don't want to, please don't think I'm being insensitive here, but somebody on our adventknows.com talk and text line just reminded me that last week we had a critical incident being reported at the water department in the city of Milwaukee, and that turned out to be a door slamming. Apparently somebody called 911 because the water department employees didn't know the difference between the sound of gunshots or a door slamming, but this does appear to be the real deal, not a false alarm. I still would like some answers from the city of Milwaukee, by the way, as to why the city's water department is not allowing the same city's police department to have access to the surveillance cameras. You might remember we reported that exclusively, citing law enforcement sources who were beyond frustrated with the fact that they couldn't figure out that there was no shooting, that no shots were fired at the water department. This was at the Zeidler building in downtown Milwaukee, just next to City Hall, because the water department just didn't allow police officers access to the cameras. Quick programming note. Tomorrow at exactly 4:06 p.m., we are going to be joined for an exclusive interview by America's border czar, Tom Homan, to talk about President Trump's deportation efforts, to talk about recent Supreme Court decisions. One today allows them to remove the temporary protected status of 350,000 Venezuelans. Lower district court rulings hampering the efforts to deport criminal illegal aliens. I am going to ask Homan about his comments regarding Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers. Does he believe that Governor Evers should potentially face criminal liability? For another story that we broke here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, a memo that went out from Evers' Department of Administration instructing state employees to do their best to hamper ICE investigations into what we can only surmise are all of the illegal immigrants currently employed by the state of Wisconsin. So you're not going to want to miss this. It is going to be a long conversation. It is going to be an in-depth conversation. He is also going to talk about the need for the one big, beautiful bill to pass. All that coming up tomorrow at about, well, just right after the 4 o'clock news. Be sure you are listening in the 4 o'clock hour. Heck, be sure to be listening to every hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show every single day, Monday through Friday. 3 to 6 p.m. Central. If you miss a second of it, subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio. Get those babies automatically downloaded to your device so you don't miss a single second. Producer Eric just started with the Dan O'Donnell Show. He is already in my good graces by subscribing, by auto-downloading, and of course by listening to every single second that he's not actually producing so that he doesn't miss an instant. If you would like to join us, 414-799-1130 on the adventknows.com talk and text line. If you have any further information about what's going on at Platteville, please do shoot us a text, or you can always email me. Sources are always fully protected. If you ever wonder where we get so much information, so many exclusive stories, we break a lot of news on this program, it's because of people like you who email, who tell us, hey, this is going on. You should probably know about it. We have our crack team of pretty much me, Eric, and Dave Michaels. Sometimes I'll have help out from the news department who will look into things, and we are pretty good. We have a pretty good track record of getting results. DOD at iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. 5 o'clock word in the Spring Green Cash Contest is WIN, W-I-N, WIN. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the word WIN. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000 in cash instantly. Just a couple of days left. The contest ends on Friday. So as of today, there are 12 more chances on the Dan O'Donnell Show. And then the Memorial Day weekend holiday. And then, man, oh man, we are in the swing of summer. A lot of kids' school done for the year after Memorial Day weekend. My kids go until I think the first week of June, second week, somewhere in there. Most public schools will go a couple of weeks after Memorial Day. Very few are on the Memorial Day to Labor Day. It's usually colleges that will have final exams. Now, I guess UW-Platville is in the middle of final exams. They just had their graduation on Saturday. Underclassmen still taking exams. I don't know if graduating seniors are just exempt from final exams. A lot of schools will do that. It's mostly colleges. The UW system will go second week in May until after Labor Day. Usually it's the day right after Labor Day will be the first day that the new fall semester starts. Over the weekend in northern Wisconsin, it was the state of Wisconsin's Republican Party. The Republicans gathered amidst a growing schism. A schism that doesn't seem to be healing anytime soon, despite my pleas for peace, Senator Ron Johnson's pleas for peace, and at this weekend's convention, Congressman Derek Van Orden's pleas for peace. The latest is that now former Dane County Republican Party Chairman Brandon Malley, deeply involved in Turning Point Action, did in fact take a job with Turning Point, which I guess is technically true. He's closer to family, which is what he told me in a text on Friday afternoon, that he was taking a new job to be closer with family, that this was a family decision. Well, he's getting a job with Turning Point that's going to take him in the Northeast, I think Pennsylvania. Don't quote me on that, but he's moving out of state, basically. So he can obviously no longer be Dane County chairman. He wasn't forced out. He got a job, but the job was with the organization that Republicans in the state party are so fearful of that they attempted to put in changes to their rules that would make it impossible for anybody who works with Turning Point to serve on the executive committee. The executive committee hires the chairman of the Republican Party, Brian Schimming, the current chair. You have heard him filling in on this show, filling in for other WISN shows. He is a friend of the program. I consider him to be a great friend. He turned back a vote of no confidence, crushed it, in fact. There wasn't a whole lot of opposition among the Republican rank and file. And as I've said repeatedly, it's because Schimming is a very nice, kind, good man. He is effective at organizing party events. He is a rah-rah Tommy Thompson type who's very good at firing up the troops. My issue is whether or not he and the current Republican executive committee are good enough at doing the one thing that matters in modern day campaigning from a party perspective, raising money. The biggest loss that Democrats nationally, I think, are suffering this year is Ben Wickler stepping down as chairman of the Wisconsin Democrat Party. To me, Wisconsin is the ultimate purple state. We are the swingiest of the swing states. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia got nothing on us. We are the closest. Every single election, presidential election, we are decided either by the fewest votes, second or third fewest votes, and it swings back and forth. Trump, Biden, Trump. For a long time, we only voted for Democrats in presidential races, and more often than not, with Tommy Thompson and Scott Walker, we voted for Republicans to be our governor. That sort of switched a little bit because of the rise of what I've called the only Trump voter, combined with demographic shifts that have sent a whole lot of people of the baby boom generation heading for the no income tax state of Florida. They're not just retiring there. They're not just being snowbirds there. They're actually becoming Florida citizens. Ron DeSantis, in other words, can be blamed more than maybe Brian Schimming can for Wisconsin Republicans' electoral losses. A lot of the Scott Walker voting base no longer votes in Wisconsin. They didn't turn into Democrats. They left the state. My issue with the current Republican leadership is not personal, Kay. It's business. They are, I think, a little too slow to adapt to this changing reality. That we need to turn out every single vote in northern Wisconsin and turn out in non-Trump races, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 75% of Trump's votes. That's what the liberal Supreme Court candidate, Susan Crawford, got. She got about 76% of Kamala Harris's votes, and she's now a Supreme Court justice-elect. We need to get every single vote out. The problem, as evidenced by where the convention was this year, is in the Trump vote-rich areas of northern and far western Wisconsin, more rural areas where people are more spread out. They are more likely to be Trump-only voters, and you need more money to convince them otherwise. You need more money to physically reach them. You need money to have people in the field to be able to get to those far-flung places. And this is why I think it's the height of stupidity to try to scare off Turning Point USA, who is going to provide you with the same sort of air and ground cover that the innumerable 501c3s and political action committees are providing with Wisconsin Dems. Now, what some of the people who despise Turning Point within the Republican Party say, and this is accurate, is that Turning Point may be way better at telling you what they do than actually doing it. There was only a spend, according to the campaign finance reporting that I saw, of $40,000 on get out the vote efforts for Brad Schimmel in the state Supreme Court race. Now, were they simply content to let Elon Musk and America PAC do the heavy lifting? Maybe. Did they see that race as unwinnable? Possibly. Or did they just not want to invest and not put in the resources to winning what Charlie Kirk himself on the radio was calling the most important election of the entire year? I don't disagree with him. The biggest issue, though, is there is so much infighting and catty sewing circle type politics within local Republican parties and the state party that it's honestly getting to be a sort of toxic environment. I say that going to a number of county party events where everybody is on their best behavior, but my message, I was just at a great county party, Jefferson County. They do it right. They do a wonderful job. I was just at Washington County a while back. Those are Waukesha County is very well run. Milwaukee County, there are some dissidents who just hate the fact that Hilario De Leon has swelled the party's membership ranks, but is also Turning Point affiliated, as is his first vice chair. That's a very well-run party. Dane County, I thought, was well run. But the problem is there's always somebody saying, well, I could run it better. I'm sure you could. Get yourself elected. Until you do, follow. If you can't lead, you need to be a good soldier. Not everybody is the general. And it doesn't help anyone when the general is constantly second-guessed. Now, my fear is that all of this sniping, all of this open hostility toward Turning Point, one of the few, if not the only political action groups that has the resources to be able to actively go out and help local and state parties win statewide races, that other groups are going to be hesitant to spend any money or send any of their people in if they're just going to be treated like garbage and immediately accused of trying to take over the state party. My counter to that is, what has anybody at the state party, or for that matter, the county parties, done at the statewide level that is so great that anybody deserves a free pass to re-election? Donald Trump and Ron Johnson won statewide in 2016. In 2019, Brian Hagedorn won a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. In 2022, Ron Johnson won re-election. John Leiber won state treasurer, and Trump won again in 2024. Those 6 wins, 5.5. Hagedorn, alleged conservative justice. I'll give a half. 5.5 wins in 9 years. That's it, statewide. That's it. If, and I will use this analogy until, frankly, I get tired of it, and I'm not going to get tired of it. If the Republican Party of Wisconsin was a football team and we had 5.5 wins in 9 years, we'd be on our 4th head coach and 2nd general manager minimum. I'm not saying there needs to be regime change, and clearly what's going on is the executive committee, some members are not totally sold on Schimming, who again is the first chairman to draw a salary, meaning there is more scrutiny and there should be more scrutiny on him. Clearly he's getting through the 2026 cycle. If there isn't a win, he's probably going to be replaced. I wouldn't be opposed to replacing the executive committee after that, because then we'll go on a decade of an unsustainable losing streak. Wisconsin's not going to turn into Minnesota on my watch. All right? There was, of course, a big straw poll, as there is every year, but this year it takes on a bit more significance with the gubernatorial race next year. Something of a surprise in who won the gubernatorial straw poll. That's coming up next when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
Northbound 4145, lousy right now. Watertown Plank up to Burleigh with the ongoing construction. 35 to Good Hope. Northbound on 43 from the Marquette to Brown Deer takes 25. Over on 94, it's 15 in either direction. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Club Car Wash and ClubCarWash.com.
Mosquitoes aren't just a nuisance. They can transmit dangerous diseases, too. That's why Batsner Pest Control is proud to offer mosquito extermination services to keep your family and property safe year-round. To schedule your $69 initial mosquito control service, visit Batsner.com today.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha fleet and specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve from Reset Restore MD, Brookfield and Mequon. Please listen to this real feedback from an R&R MD patient.
The weight of depression and anxiety were my burden to bear on this earth. After Reset Restore, my depression and anxiety are in remission. I have a breath of fresh air and the ability to work through roadblocks.
Intravenous ketamine infusions take about an hour, but the relief can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com. That's rnrmd.com.
Kick off your summer right with big seasonal savings at Fleet Farm. Kingsford 16-pound 2-packs of charcoal briquettes are just $17.99. Suffolk's braided fishing line is only $7.99 a spool. And get a free $25 gift card with every $100 you spend on select Columbia apparel and footwear. For more of the hottest summer specials at the best prices guaranteed, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
Need a tree on the ground now? Cut and Go offers same day or next day half service tree removal. We do the dangerous part, putting the trees on the ground in orderly fashion. You do the cleanup. A Trees and Tons movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Aspire to the perfect blend of information and enlightenment. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Law enforcement currently going building to building on the UW-Platville campus to make sure there is an all clear that's going to be given. Apparently, the shelter-in-place order has been lifted. The first text out to students to shelter in place because of an incident at Wilgus Hall, a dormitory on the Platteville campus, went out at 4:05 this afternoon. We were possibly the first to report on it. About 20 minutes later, as I started getting reports of possible shots fired, we are now hearing a media room has been set up for a press conference later this evening. That generally does indicate that this was something other than just, I hate to say something, I don't want to say something minor because, a suicide is obviously a tragic event. But the persistent chatter has been that this was some sort of shooting incident, possibly a murder-suicide. The campus has been remarkably tight-lipped about this. But what I can say when they set up a media briefing like this is that just tell me, producer Eric, all right, that's never good. Eric says, WISN television, no affiliation with WISN radio, I've explained this a million times, is reporting that the Grant County coroner has been called to the UW-Platville campus. That is an indicator, obviously, that a death has occurred. So we will continue to follow this. The initial report that went out over scanner band police radio is that police scanner radio is that it was a mass casualty incident, multiple casualties, meaning multiple injuries. A casualty does not necessarily equate to a fatality, although when those sorts of reports come in, usually it is either a mass shooting incident, and that doesn't mean, someone with the black trench coat bursts in, the traditional Columbine-style mass shooting. It could be a murder-suicide in which it's a romantic triangle or a relationship gone sour. Boyfriend kills the girlfriend, then kills himself, that sort of thing. If it was an altercation between people on campus or possibly just near campus, just on campus involving people who aren't students or aren't employees of the university. It just happened to take place near this dormitory. Hopefully we will get some official confirmation before the show is over. Again, I will continue to update social media. All right. Republican Party of Wisconsin held its annual convention. Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman is the second candidate to announce for governor, and he is your winner of the annual straw poll. Young Republicans typically put this on. 38% of those responding, before you read too much into this, 38% of those responding was a whopping 110 votes. It is, however, still something. Tom Tiffany is expected to make a decision on whether or not he is going to win, the great Wisconsin congressman. And he finished second in his district. Bill Berrien, the wealthy guy who apparently supports ranked choice voting, finished dead last. And when I say dead last, he finished below other. He is also an announced candidate, and it's never a good sign that the only thing that you are known for, if anyone knows who you are at all, is something that is so cockamamie and anti-democratic that it is universally reviled, except by the radical left. Now, Berrien, you would think, right, if someone announces for governor, it might behoove them to say, hey, Dan, any chance I could come on the show and, we could make a big splash and talk about this? Showman announced on Sunday earlier this month, I want to say he was on Jay Weber's show, my show, and Vicky's show on Monday. I have still not heard from Bill Berrien. He announced his candidacy in like March or April. Now, I'm not saying I'm the end all and be all of conservatism in this state. I'm just saying I reach a lot of conservatives in this state. So too does Weber. So too does Belling with his podcast. We were just on an email chain when Berrien announced, has anybody heard from Bill Berrien? Nobody had. The other question is, who the hell is Bill Berrien? And he's on the board of the Catherine Gale Bring Ranked Choice Voting to Wisconsin. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm sure you're a nice guy. To me, that disqualifies you. I have railed against ranked choice voting. I have written about ranked choice voting. I have proven that ranked choice voting is nothing more than a scheme to elect Democrats where Democrats can't otherwise be elected. Anyone who supports ranked choice voting, I'm just going to tell you, I will never support you. Ever, ever, ever. I'm sorry. It's how it works. Have I made myself clear? All right, good. The Josh Showman straw poll win is not especially surprising because he has been out there at every event. The man is a tireless worker. He was on my show and he had 3 or 4 events. That event I told you about in the last segment, I was at Jefferson County. I arrived just as Josh Showman was finishing up his speech. It doesn't matter. You know who he reminds me of? And I'm going to be careful here. He doesn't with personality or anything, but just with pure work ethic. He reminds me of Becky Clayfish. And I say, a lot of people, for whatever reason, I still am confused about the idea that Becky Clayfish could not have won in 2022, and we needed Tim Michaels to swoop in and lose to Tony Evers. Okay. There is now apparently some noise. Jessica McBride, our great friend over at Wisconsin Right Now, was reporting that people are saying Tim Michaels should run again and that Trump is privately urging Michaels to run. Michaels was actually Trump's first choice for transportation secretary because of what a big supporter he is. Trump just really likes Tim Michaels, and apparently the White House wants to see Tim Michaels run again. I can just tell you, with Dan Kelly and then Brad Schimmel running statewide after having lost statewide and losing by big margins, it's not going to work. It just isn't going to work. You don't come back after you lose statewide. Trump is the exception to the rule. There's a reason that only one president before him served non-consecutive terms, because the voters essentially have already made up their minds about you. Here's the thing about the Showman Tom Tiffany breakdown. Tiffany is very strong in northern Wisconsin. He's a tremendous congressman. He's a great guy. He's personable. He's a good public servant. He is everything you would want in a governor. Is he really going to want to give up his seat, which is about as safe gets? He's beloved up north. There is no chance he would ever lose. to run for governor against a very well-funded incumbent in what's poised to be a big Dem year. It just is. It's Trump won in 2024. It's technically his second term, but generally speaking, the politics are probably going to play out like it's Trump's first term, and generally a new president loses big. His party loses big in the first midterms. It's just how it goes, and that trend holds especially true in Wisconsin. Only Tommy Thompson and Tony Evers, since we went to 4-year terms for our governors, have won when their party controlled the White House. Would Tiffany really want to give up a safe seat to potentially lose? I will say this. The candidates who generally pull off the upsets in, say, a big Democrat year, but a Republican is able to win, think Ron DeSantis in 2018. Okay? Barely won, barely squeaked by Andrew Gillum, the Democrat, who was found naked in a crack den several years later. That's a true story. Look it up. Young guy, very energetic, military background, photogenic, and especially with the contrast to Tony Evers, old, decrepit, looking for a third term, spent his entire life suckling at the government tit. Can I say tit, or does it have to be teat? Well, I said it. Leave it in. We'll find out if I get a strongly worded letter from the FCC. Should I ask Tom Homan tomorrow if I can say that word? If anybody can grant clemency, Tom, please don't deport me over saying the T word instead of teat. As soon as I said it, and then I said it twice, I said, hey, wait a minute. I don't think that's one of Carlin's words, but I'm not sure if it's one of the FCC's naughty words. But the point is that someone like Showman, who is young, and he's the same age as me, and please, I do not consider myself young, especially after coaching a soccer tournament all weekend and then trying to play with my buddies. I feel like I'm about to fall apart. Yes, Eric? All right, plural is on the list, but one is not. So TITS is on the list, but TIT I can say. But I can say teat. Okay. Can I say, isn't there like a bird? Like the titmouse, right? Isn't that a bird? Yeah, but I can say titmouse. Okay, so Governor Evers, let's just pretend I said Governor Evers has spent his entire life suckling at the government titmouse, and people are going to want to change. In that type of election, a candidate like Josh Showman, who sort of comes out of nowhere and charms people who just want to change. If it's a change election, you play up that contrast between the young, energetic, successful military guy from Washington County against the old, burned out, washed up fossil like Tony Evers. I'm not saying I do not endorse in primaries. I think Tom Tiffany would be a fantastic candidate. I'm just saying, practically speaking, it's going to be an uphill climb. All right, I'll tell you what, we got to go to break. If I don't come back, you'll know the FCC has dragged me away to jail for my profanities. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. I'm like the conservative Stern.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Still very heavy delays. 4145 northbound Watertown Plank to Burleigh, southbound Good Hope to Burleigh, 94 eastbound stopping and going, Highway F to Brookfield, 84th to Hawley, westbound from the Marquette to Mitchell Boulevard and Highway 318 to Highway 83. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is already hiring for summer jobs in a variety of industries. Job seekers never pay a fee at Express. Go to ExpressPros.com to find your location. That's ExpressPros.com.
The latest news.
And let's get right to it. This is just breaking right now. A major development.
Exclusive investigations.
That has been confirmed by multiple sources. It is a story you will hear only right here.
In-depth analysis.
I did some digging on this and found the truth.
And plenty of fun.
And it's time now for the strangest stories of the past week.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Grandma? In kitchen. Did you put these flyers in Lithuanian all over the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Okay, I know Kavelius is fool. What's the rest say?
Use translation app.
Oh boy. Okay, don't be a fool. Take excellent financial lesson with Grandma.
One lesson, $25.
You need money for something you need money for? Get a First American Bank home equity line of credit.
It's smart.
Don't get a credit card loan.
It's stupid.
Because First American Bank
has best loan deals in town. Okay, now read Big Finish.
If you get a credit card loan and not a First American Bank home equity line of credit, you could pay 2.5 times more in interest. Isn't this a bad word?
Very.
Grandma, everything you've said about First American Bank is correct, but charging people $25, I don't know, come on.
You are right. Should be $100. Help me fix flyers.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha Fleet and Specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
It's old world craftsmanship that sets a Bellman home apart from others. And after all this time, Bellman Homes has proven that old world craftsmanship is our standard. And all you have to do is walk through one of our models and you'll feel it. Bellman Homes.
Family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental straight smiles, and full sedation dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission? Your comfort, health, and confidence.
Smile like you just don't care.
Because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
The real estate industry insiders know who to call when it's time to sell their home. This is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. We've built up a solid track record of helping out our fellow real estate colleagues over the years. Former realtors, mortgage professionals, real estate attorneys. Being in the business, they know our reputation and they're confident we'll deliver them results and savings. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
I love Mother's Day, but why just today? Why not make May the month of mothers? Every mom is special and every day special at the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Ridgefield. Just take the Holy Hill exit from Highway 41, turn west, and then take the first right at Wolf Road. The Sawmill will be just around the bend on your left.
iHeartRadio's got you covered for the summer. Sail on with commercial-free weekends on Yacht Rock Radio. Roll down the windows for road trips with summer playlists like Summer Classics. Or just escape into a podcast. Your summer soundtrack is already in your pocket with the free iHeartRadio app. Find your next summer preset now.
iHeartRadio.
Still no update on UW-Platville as we are awaiting a press conference after some sort of incident. A shelter-in-place order was lifted after what's now being called an isolated incident. A post on the college's website at 4:24 told students this, according to WKOW, told students to continue to shelter in place at 5:03. That order was lifted. UW-Platville spokesperson said an isolated incident happened in one of the residence halls. The public is asked to continue to avoid Wilgus Hall. The Grant County coroner was called to the campus. That's all we know thus far. We are going to have to end the Dan O'Donnell show a little bit early today. Apparently, our self-editing over what Governor Evers was suckling at. Yeah, he spent years suckling at the public Titicaca. Like, what? Seriously, I do not get how that is a bad. I can say teat, but I can't say the other word. But I can say Lake Titicaca. You know what caca means in Spanish, don't you? So I can say Titicaca till the cows come home, but I can't say just the first three letters of that. That is a real lake. People on the text line are They're telling me also, many from a farm background know the difference between a teat and a. Well, I think of it as like Lady Liberty, right? Like Governor Evers. It's not like a cow. Like, I think of government as like, you know, the beautiful Statue of Liberty holding up her beak, and Governor Evers like a freaking parasite just suckling. My overall point, which was sort of lost in all that, is that the profile of a candidate who beats a Governor Evers in a Dem year is someone more like Josh Showman than it is Tom Tiffany. I like both of them. I will not endorse either of them in a primary just because I try to stay neutral. I will absolutely moderate any debate that they would want to have live on this very radio show if Tiffany gets into the race. And again, I'm not necessarily sure he will, just because it's going to be such an uphill climb. I don't want to be a doomsayer. I'm just being honest with you. All right. Thanks for listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Back 3:06 tomorrow. Remember, Tom Homan coming up in the 4 o'clock hour.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank.